So there's been a lot that has been a lot that has been going on to simplify mainframe management through technology, but training and skills development are also important. And there's been some new innovation popping up in this area as well around the country. One example that I've come across is the Consortium for Enterprise Systems Management. They have a new initiative called ITology, and let me tell you a little bit about the consortium first. It is a nonprofit of IT companies, general businesses, and academic institutions led by Steve Wiggins, the CIO of Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina, and Lonnie Emmerd, who's the executive director of the program. And this group is dedicated to help growing the IT pipeline of talent, especially around the mainframe. And they have a three-part strategy to do that. The first is to promote IT in the K through 12 initiatives, through interest camps, contests, and student projects. The second area is to teach IT in higher education, aligned certainly with some of the IBM initiatives, but to make sure that these are being taught through undergraduate and in the graduate environment as well, and having internships and farm systems as well. And third is to grow IT in the professional environment, and doing this, again, through things like entry-level education, business analysis, recruitment. And this is a regional initiative that started down in the Southeast, but it's actually already spread to 6 states, and it's moving very quickly. And I think that talks about the need for training, the need for skills development in overall IT, but also in particular around the mainframe. And I'm confident that with innovations like this that are popping up on regional bases through group self-organizing, that the skills issue will be addressed very effectively. Speaking of skills, we're at CA. We have the same challenge, by the way. We have a large development organization, many of who are our baby boomers, who can now see, retirements coming in on the horizon. So we've put together a program that looks like we have a college recruitment program where we hire about 40 new students a year to come into CA. We then run them through an intensive 13-week boot camp. After they're done with the mainframe boot camp, they come out, they do a job rotation, and then they ultimately pick an area that they'd like to work in, and they're assigned a seasoned mentor for several years, actually. And this program has been very successful for us. It's actually been so successful that customers have come to us and said, hey, we'd like to bring our employees into that program as well, which has been slightly problematic. But our Chief Learning Officer, Brad Samardzija, caught wind of this, caught wind of people wanting more training on generic mainframe skills. And from that, he has built and launched a mainframe academy. And so what I'd like to do right now is I would like to call Brad Samardzija, our Chief Learning Officer, to come up on stage. Brad, and let me ask you a couple questions about the new Mainframe Academy. Please welcome Brad.
Thank you, Dayton.
Thanks, Brad. So Brad, tell us a little bit about the Academy. What is it and who is it for?
Absolutely. So we have a little tagline in our group, and it's "The world needs more mainframers." And it's kind of interesting. The people.
It's a good tagline.
It is a good tagline.
The other tagline you have, by the way, is "Go mainframe or go home," and I like that tagline a lot as well.
Actually, that's a T-shirt that will be printed soon.
Perfect. Perfect.
So let me tell you, our focus is on the Grow IT. You saw it up there. The universities are doing a great job, but what we're finding, we have the same problem that you're due, which is basically there's two audiences that we need to address. The first one is the kids coming out of college. How do we teach them to be productive mainframers quickly? And the second is we need to reskill some of these distributed folks that are kind of seeing the light and need to come over to the mainframe side, but they don't have the skills. And how did we do that quickly as well?
Well, actually, in the phrase I heard around that, John Twigo came up with a phrase that I liked a lot, which is the hybrid worker. As IBM has created the new hybrid platform, it's going to call for the need for a hybrid worker. So cross-training people on both platforms is going to be important going forward as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're hearing some, I wouldn't say horror stories, but things like mentor programs, and I think you should go to that breakout session, that aren't working. So, hey, Dayton, you're my mentor, and a year later, you're so busy, I didn't really learn much. Or, you know what, we're going to build our own mainframe learning program, but we're an IT department, but all of a sudden we're in the business of training. And so what we came up with is Mainframe Academy, and our other tagline is designed for customers with customers. So we started with a blank sheet of paper and actually worked with our customers and said, what would a program like this look like? And I'll actually give you all the architecture premises to build this thing, and it's up on the slide. But number one was vendor agnostic. So it's like, Brad, we might have CA, we might have IBM, Compuware, whatever. Make it vendor agnostic. So check, we did that. The second one is make it a case study environment, real world, doing real world tasks. These kids are coming out of college, they have a lot of skills, they have some theory, but they need to do productive things, and we need to base that training in that kind of environment. The third is that we need it to be fast. So some of these programs that we've seen take a year, 2 years, 3 years. We don't have that much time. We'd really like to immerse these people in the mainframe and then get them back from you and make them productive. The fourth is have somebody teach this that's a salty veteran. So the 20 to 30-year-old veteran, and have them devoted to this, so this is their only job. And then the fifth thing, which I think is most important, is can you verify their skills? So not just a multiple choice test, but can you actually do a skills proficiency exam and certify these folks? And so we took all that and built this into our 8-week immersion program called CA Mainframe Academy.
So with that, tell us a little bit about what the experience is like for the students in there.
Yeah, the experience is actually, this kind of sounds like a horror film, but this is not a horror film at all. Imagine mainframe meets University of Phoenix meets Facebook. We literally came up with this really innovative design. I'm really proud of it. You actually, when you enroll, you get an iPad. You get access to a collaboration site. In the collaboration site is all your electronic books, your instructor guides, your e-learning courses. There's an Outlook calendar. It is an intensive program. It's actually 5 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day for 8 weeks straight.
So you're saying, Brad, they're half days?
No,
these guys are working. The
Yeah,
amount of hours that everybody has put in. So it's a half day in mainframe speak.
Right.
Okay, half day.
The students have gone through this. They're like, oh my God. The one guy was like, you know what? I'm with my kid at the playground, and when they're swinging, I pop open my iPad and I'm doing some research and I'm doing some studying.
That's a good hire.
And you know what? We actually, the class is 8 to 12 people. You're in a cohort, so you get to know your friends. The way it starts out is really interesting. We get them together for 2 days, so they get to know each other. There's live instruction. But we're really sensitive to the highest cost for training is actually travel. So you actually go back to your city, your office, or at home, and you do most of this from there. So each day, a typical day in the life is you wake up, you might have an e-learning to do. There'll be a live virtual session with your instructor. Then you actually have virtual labs. So we created this virtual lab environment where you're banging on the mainframe with software and hardware, hosted by CA. And then you might have a one-on-one coaching session with the instructor. That instructor is available for all 8 weeks, 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yep.
And you do your homework, you do your labs, you do all that work, and you basically have to keep up. And what's really cool about this is there's actually 3 waves of testing, and at the very end there's capstone skills proficiency testing, so you actually have to do tasks on the hardware, on the software, and show that you can do those job tasks that are required when you go back to your employment.
Well, Brad, that sounds like it sounds like a pretty intense program.
Absolutely.
And you graduated you just graduated your first class. How did it go?
It went fantastic. We've had actually a session in North America and a session in Sweden, Stockholm actually. On the Stockholm session was really interesting. Even the students started collaborating back and forth, which is the Facebook piece, even without us. So a student in Germany was collaborating with a student in Belgium. And what's really cool is they were 21-year-olds, and they're like, mainframe is so cool.
That's
and
great.
This is awesome.
That's great.
And the one quote I have to give you is that one of them went back to their employer and showed them everything they did. And the employer, again, a veteran, said, you know what, you learned in 8 weeks what took me 3 years to learn.
That's great.
So we were really happy about that.
Great. Well, congratulations, Brett. Hey, listen, before you run off the stage, we're here talking to everybody about doing more with less.
Absolutely.
How can you help us here today do more with less?
Well, we're really excited to announce that we'd like to jumpstart some of these young professionals in their career.
Okay.
So we'd like to launch a share scholarship for 5 individuals over a 5-year period, so that's 1 each year, where CA will actually fund them to go through the program, and the inductees will be basically based on applications that the share board will review.
Okay, so we'll do it in association with the SHARE community, the SHARE leadership team.
Absolutely.
There'll be an application process, there'll be scholarships that are selected, and then people will go
Right.
through the Mainframe Academy.
And it's a global program, absolutely. North America, EMEA, and other continents.
That's outstanding, Brad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, hold on. Just while we have you up here,
Sure.
look out here. There's 700, 800 people here in the room. I think there might be another couple thousand people online. That was a very generous offer, and it's wonderful, so thank you. But
One a
in
year?
this, yeah, exactly. In the spirit, though, of maybe digging a little deeper, do you think you could, we're not exerting peer pressure or anything. It's about sharing. Do you think you could richen the offer a little bit?
You made me squirm here a little bit, Dayton.
Yeah.
Well, one a year for 5 years, pretty generous.
That's wonderful. But do more with less. Look at all the young faces out here.
Okay.
Look at
Okay,
both
that's
of the,
true.
Both of the, yeah.
That's true. There, I see some people with gray hair like myself. Maybe, how about if we increase that to 15?
All right,
So
you're
that
gonna
would be
triple the
3 a
offer.
year. We'll triple
3
the
a year.
offer.
All
So I
right.
feel like I'm on a game show here.
So, Brad, I'm just going to come off stage for a minute. What is it?
Yeah, where are you going?
No, just stand right up there. What does that feel like as you look out and you see everybody?
It's inspiring.
It's inspiring. It is inspiring. And do you think, just best and final offer, you could do something that would leave everybody here in the room completely inspired by your generosity and your desire to support the entire ecosystem?
I don't know. They seem pretty happy with
Folks, who would like, wait. Folks, who would like Brad to inspire you right now with a very generous offer? All right, Brad, inspire us.
It's a recession. Look. All right, best and final offer. And you're gonna have to back me on this when we go back to headquarters.
You bet.
We'll up that to 30 scholarships, so that's 5 or actually 6 a year.
30
To do my math.
scholarships. I'm
And that's actually,
writing it down.
And that's actually $1 million.
So it's $1 million
So-
value in the scholarship
so you
program.
better
All
help
right,
me out.
Brad, that is inspirational.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So just one or two shameless plugs. First of all, if you advance the slide, we are running some sessions that are kicking off pretty quickly here. You'll see there, in Europe and in North America. So there's two ways we can do this. So the whole thing I described to you is the public schedule. So a person or two from each
Okay.
company.
Yep.
You can be from New York and California at the same time in the same class. Travel costs, like I mentioned, are really low. But we're actually talking to a number of companies that are like, you know what, we'd like you to take over our in-house program
Okay.
and run it for us. And so we can actually do that, and we can be on site or do that much more effectively. The second one is if you stop by the booth, and it's actually, I wrote it down, you can learn a lot more about this. I think it's booth number 156.
Well, this really is a shameless
Yeah,
plug.
it is a plug. No, but really, seriously, there's a lot more to this. I didn't
Okay.
have time to explain it. There's brochures. We can tell you what the course looks like. We can answer your questions.
Great.
But I really hope that you guys will support us to make this one of the pieces of the puzzle to make us build more mainframers. So
Great.
thank
Well,
you very much.
Thank you very much, Brad. We appreciate it. Well done. That was a generous offer. Thank you very much.